With cold, blunt analysis cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's time for the Johnny Walker Dread Show.
This is body-worn camera from officer number 2. Go ahead, Bobby.
He's got a gun! He's got a gun! On your right! On your right! He's got a gun!
And of course, they pan away from it. But I'm going to show you the actual shooting.
Of course, they pan away from it for a reason. It's because the world has become a bunch of pussies and we can't handle watching violence. Oh my God, there's violence on television. And so in the most important part of a crime video, they pan away from it so that nobody knows what happened. It's not just this one, and it's not the police officer's fault. It's society. We've just become a nation of wusses.
If YouTube allows me to.
So just to give you an idea, we have the 2 uniformed cars. We have 2 officers. There's 4 individuals in the stolen vehicle. All 4 individuals get out and start running, some in different directions. So officers decide which individual they're going to pursue. One officer decides to pursue the individual who we now know had a firearm in his hand. The other officer pursued another occupant that fled from the vehicle. And that'll be significant here in a moment when you see.
All right, I got to stop it there. You hear what she said? One officer pursued Ryan Hinton with the gun, and the other officer pursued another individual. That's 2 officers, right? That's what she said. 2 officers pulled up to the scene. And watch how significant that statement becomes.
So this is a still image. Again, I'm going to step out front. The car is parked over this way, okay? They are chasing the individual. So officer number 1 is chasing this guy right here. Okay, this is the guy we ultimately end up shooting. The other officer who actually fires the shot on this individual is chasing a different individual further out this way in this direction.
All right, you hear what she said? Well, first she told the truth. She said they are chasing this individual, and then she caught herself. Let's rewind that.
Okay, they are chasing the
You hear what she said? They are chasing. Now she changes it.
individual. So officer number 1 is chasing this guy right here. Okay, this is the guy we ultimately end up shooting. The other officer who actually fires the shot on this individual is chasing a different individual further out this way in this direction. Okay, as this officer is chasing him, he sees a firearm in his hand and he yells, "Gun, gun," he's got a gun. This individual slips, trips, whatever, falls on the concrete right here.
All right, so I got to stop it there because she says he slips, trips, or whatever, falls on the concrete right there, right? So as the eyewitness told me, he was actually laying the gun down right there.
As the eyewitness told you? Who did you talk to? Nobody. Somebody probably texted him. "Oh man, I was there. Oh man, you should have seen what happened." Yeah, we've been through this before. Remember Dr. Umar claiming that he was getting text messages from people who saw the Carmelo Anthony stabbing of Austin Metcalf? Right. Oh my gosh. And then he's making a big deal out of the fact that she said they and then later changed it to the other officer. So what? We need to find out if Ryan Hinton pointed a gun at the officer. I don't care about how many other officers chased the other dude. It makes no difference.
Then he laid the gun down and he ran. Now, I just want to show this picture, this angle as well, because look at the soulless in her face. Look at the light, look at the coldness in her face.
Oh, so cold. Oh my God. Look at that cold face. I guess Ryan Hinton is innocent. The officer is guilty because here's why. Cold-faced chief.
When she's talking about this individual slips or trips or whatever, but you can clearly see it looks like he is putting the gun down. Now, also, once again,
From a still photo, you can tell that, huh? Okay. I wonder if there are problems with trying to deduce action from a still photo.
and you see how bright it is, and you see how blurry the tree line in it, and the photographic expert is going to explain this. But also one thing I missed earlier. Now look at this picture, the same picture. If you look right there to the bottom right-hand corner, you see a man with a hat. Look closely. You see a man with the hat just casually walking by. And you guys can go back to the earlier video or play the conference straight through. You see that guy. Now, does that look like a police officer, or that look like a civilian? That looks like somebody's calm and standing there watching him put the gun down, right?
Yeah, so?
Doesn't look like anybody's chasing him. But let's continue. Let me remove that. Let's continue.
I don't know who he's talking about.
Continue. I don't want to get off track.
Other officers that were also there say in their interview, they heard the firearm hit the concrete. They heard the metal from the firearm hit the concrete.
All right, so now where did these other officers come from? Mind you, she's going to tell you it took 6 seconds. And 2 officers, one is chasing him and one is chasing the other person. The angle that's going to be facing the trash can is going to shoot our young brother. So those are just 2 officers. So where are these other officers?
Tell us why it matters. I mean, tell us the impact of that. Because there were 2 other officers, that means what?
Did they come from within 6 seconds? She said 2 officers came up on the scene, and within 6 seconds, this young man passed. So where are the other officers? Who are these other mysterious officers who heard the gun drop? And they weren't even there. Let's continue.
This individual gets up, still has the firearm in his hand, and continues to run through the dumpsters. Go ahead, Bobby. So these are some still photos. This is the officer who originally saw him with the firearm in his hand, calling it out. He runs through the dumpsters. This officer knows that there's another officer here that is going to ultimately encounter him when he comes through the dumpsters. So he makes him aware of that. He shouts out to him, on your right, on your right. He's on your right. And that's
all right. So now if this officer with the gun pointed at our brother is chasing another person, how is he laying in wait? Like, he is laying in wait. He's not chasing anybody. So are you telling me within 0.5 seconds he done caught the other guy, handcuffed him, got him on the ground?
And within that time he was laying in wait? Usually laying in wait means that you're waiting a while. So I have no idea what he's talking about. Clearly the officer wasn't waiting around, waiting for the dude to just come out of nowhere. He was chasing him. You can see the other officer, by the way, over on your right. He would have been able to see everything. Were there other officers involved? Maybe, but I don't care.
In 0.7 seconds, he's back, ready to shoot our brother. Make it make sense. They said there's 2 officers. One was chasing him, and then the other was chasing somebody else. Does that look like he's chasing somebody? How does he go from chasing one person to lying in wait for another person within 6 seconds? That's an outright, flat out lie.
Give it up, dude. Man, there's nothing there. What matters was the officer justified in his shooting. I don't care what these other officers were doing.
where this individual comes out from between the dumpsters. This is the other officer, the one who fires the shot. This is his body camera as he approaches the scene.
And you heard, of course, they didn't show it, but I'm going to show it to you if I'm allowed to. But you heard the get the F down, get the F down. I had to bleep it out, but that's what they said. That is an anger. That is a malicious attitude.
Yeah. Police officers often have these malicious attitudes when they're chasing after thugs carrying guns. This is not the first time that I've ever heard a police officer swear. But I guess this proves that Ryan Hinton was shot in cold blood. Okay. I don't get it.
Get the F down. Get the F down. After you put 5 bullets in the brother in the back, and I'm going to show you that.
This is the firearm that was recovered at the scene after the individual was shot. This is what he had.
All right, so now let's look at these guns. Now you see that gun. You see it's kind of gray. It's actually gray. But also look at the position of the gun. The gun is under the leaves. If that gun fell, that gun would be on top of the leaves in the brush. But more than that, look at the color. Now that is the gun that they're saying he has. Now look at the color of that gun. Now it gets sort of brownish. Now they said beige. One article said a beige. Now that is the gun that's on the ground.
For chasing him.
Now that is the gun that they're saying that it is. That is a dookie brown gun. And someone also pointed out in the bottom right hand corner on that little square sheet of paper, there are 2 separate serial numbers. Now you guys got to help me with that. Is that normal for one gun to have 2 separate serial numbers? But look at this gun, and then of course they got to put one in the chamber like it's dangerous. Now just take a look at both of these.
Yeah, I don't think they have to do that to make a gun look dangerous. Of course, this may be the silliest of all arguments. There is no freaking way that you can look at a body cam still of a gun laying on the ground and figure out what color it is. The color distortions in that still are all over the place. The green that you see in those leaves is not going to be the green that they actually are. The ground's not going to be the same color. Has this man ever looked at a digital photograph before? And by the way, they're the same gun. I mean, what are you expecting us to believe? That the police planted this gun at the scene? Really?
Guns. This is the one that was found on the ground, and this is the one that they're saying that the gun on the ground was. Does these guns even look remotely the same color?
Yeah, I would bet my life savings on it. Absolutely. That's the same gun. I mean, seriously, they're not going to be able to find the same make and model of gun to plant on the ground. I mean, they recovered the gun at the scene. Why would they change it to a different gun in the photograph? Why wouldn't they just take a photograph of the gun that they supposedly planted? I just don't understand what he's trying to say here. Have a theory. Tell us what you think happened. But this picking apart thing doesn't work. I don't think that gun is the same color as the other gun. Okay, and this means what? Let's suppose that there are different colors. What are you saying that the police did then?
The same. I would beg to differ. Let's go back to this liar.
Remember I told you he fell on the concrete and the officer said that they heard the metal hit the ground? There are 3 spots on here where this gun has scratches on it. We believe those occurred when he hit the ground with the firearm.
What type of firearm is that, Chief?
Semi-automatic. I don't know the make and model. This is a second. Sorry, Bobby, can you go back 1 frame, please? This magazine was in the firearm. That's an extended magazine, so it holds more rounds.
Now they're trying to make them more dangerous.
Well, don't carry extended magazines and you foil their evil plot.
It was located.
Now this magazine, a second magazine, watch where she said it was located at.
In his sweatshirt pocket.
It was located in his sweatshirt pocket, so how did it end up on the ground under the brush? Take a look at this again. That's under the leaves, and you can clearly tell that's been placed there by the way it's laying, you know, on the leaves on the bottom on the far right part.
If you take 50 of these magazines, you throw them into brush, you're going to get 50 different looks. There is no way that anybody can look at that photograph and say, gee, that looks like it was planted. And it's the same thing with the gun. This is where everybody thinks that they're an expert. Look at the blood splatter on the wall. That could only have been caused by, give me a break. There is no way that anybody walking along there would be able to say, well, that could not have come out of somebody's sweatshirt pocket. That had to be planted. Really? Based on what?
All right, this is shabby work, as the photographer expert said.
By the way, they're not going to take the magazine and place it. If they're going to plant a magazine, they're just going to toss it onto the ground where they want it to be. I mean, there's people walking around. There's been a shooting. You don't think people have their cell phones out and taking video of the cops working? So if you're a cop and you're wanting to plant evidence, you're not going to walk over and carefully place it under these leaves. You're just going to saunter over and just kind of throw it there. And the whole thing is ludicrous. The idea that cops could go around planting a gun and a magazine in 2 different locations without nobody seeing them is crazy. If I'm a cop and I'm doing that, I'm thinking somebody's videotaping me. Everybody video records today. But it gets even dumber.
And that is the magazine from that second magazine. This is another firearm that was located inside the stolen vehicle. This is a firearm that was also stolen out of northern Kentucky sometime early yesterday morning.
So the first gun that they found was stolen in Kentucky the day prior. So they magically happened to have a gun on them that matched one that was stolen out of Kentucky the day before by the same guys who just happened to have stolen a car out of the same place. Think about the odds. All you have to do is use your brain a little. Oh, sorry. There's a report of a gun stolen out of Kentucky yesterday. They're going to have the make and model of it described. Here, these guys are in a car. One of them is running, and you shoot him. And you think, well, I want to plant a gun to make it look like he was a dangerous person. And I happen to have the same make and model of gun in my trunk that I can lay down that matches the one that was stolen the day before. I mean, think about it. What you're describing is ludicrous. You couldn't do this. Scotland Yard couldn't pull this off. Well, that's enough for this video. It gets dumber when he brings in his photography expert. Oh yeah, stay tuned for that one. Like my video and subscribe to my channel.